In order to find the gradient of this straight line, I need to rearrange the equation to the form y equals mx plus c. So if I can make y the subject of this equation, m will be the gradient and c is the intercept. So I'm going to start by subtracting 3x from both sides. So on the right hand side, I'm going to have 10 minus 3x. On the left hand side, I've subtracted this 3x, so I'm now left with 4y. Okay, I'm now going to divide both sides of that equation by 4. So the left hand side is going to now be y. I could write it as 10 minus 3x over 4, but it's easier to think of it as 10 over 4 minus 3x over 4. Okay, the 10 over 4 I'm going to simplify to 5 over 2, and then instead of minus 3x over 4, I can think of that as minus 3/4 x. So y is the same as 5 over 2, well that's 2.5 minus 3/4 x. Still not entirely clear what my gradient is, so if I write it as y equals minus 3/4 x plus 2.5, it's clearer. We can see the comparison more clearly with y equals mx plus c. The gradient is the number of x's. In this case, the gradient is minus 3/4 because we have minus 3/4 x. Don't put an x here. The gradient is minus 3/4. Part B here, to find the point of intersection of these two straight lines, we need to solve these two equations simultaneously. Now, if we look at the two equations, 5x minus 6y is equal to 23, I'm going to have to make the number of x's the same, sorry, the number of y's the same in both cases. I could make the number of x's the same, but then I would have to subtract the equations. If I make the number of y's the same, it's slightly easier because it means I'll be able to add the two equations, because I'll have a positive number of y's here and a negative number of y's here. So if I just number the equations, number 1 and number 2, what I'm going to do is the first equation, I'm going to multiply it by 3, because I can see that's going to give me 12y. The second equation, I'm going to multiply by 2, because I can see that's going to give me minus 12y. So let's just do that. The first equation multiplied by 3, so I've got 9x plus 12y is equal to 30. And I'm going to call that one equation 3. Second equation, I'm going to double it, so I'm going to get 10x minus 12y is equal to 46. And I'm going to number that equation 4. I can now see that if I add those two equations together, so I'm going to do equation 3, add equation 4, 9x plus 10x, well that's just 19x, plus 12y, add minus 12y, disappears, and I'm now going to do 30 plus 46, which is 76. So I've got 19x is equal to 76. If I want to find out what x is, I'm now going to need to divide both sides by 19. So divide the left-hand side by 19. If I now divide the right-hand side by 19, 76 divided by 19 comes out as 4. So I now know that x is equal to 4. I'm now going to substitute that back into, I could use any of these 4 equations, but probably number 1 is going to be the easiest. Okay, so I now know that x is 4, so 3x is now going to be 3 times 4, which is 12. So I've got 12 plus 4y is equal to 10. I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides, so I've got 4y now is equal to 10 take away 12, well that's minus 2. And if I now divide both sides by 4, y is equal to minus 2 divided by 4. Well, that's just minus 2/4 or minus a half. So for the point of intersection, I know that the x-coordinate is 4 and the y-coordinate is minus a half. So that's my point of intersection.